Hello and welcome to this nighttime challenge. I have two 40% alcohol Irish blended whiskeys, and they're both distilled, and neither one of them have a website listing. And one of them I think is likely discontinued. And I'm talking about Douhans. I remember they had this at Walmart. It was in a nice box, good presentation. Um, Trademark is from 2018. That was around the time I started seeing it. Didn't know much about it. Didn't find anything out about it except the importing company who went out of business. uh, they just said it was aged in oak. Well, I mean, all Irish whiskey's aged in oak, so that doesn't mean anything. Green bottle protects it from the light a little better than clear. Then I paid 19.99 for it, and then about 2 weeks later or a week later, Walmart discounted it to $9. I said, "Oh, they're trying to get rid of it. I wish I'd have waited. I could have saved $10, but I didn't. Of course, I didn't know they were going to do that." And then a few other people reviewed it online, and a few other stores I saw had it, but I never see it now, and I think it's gone. And oh well, these products will appear sometimes and abruptly disappear, and we don't know who made it. Probably one of the big Irish distilling companies, but they didn't put their name on it. Just contract, common thing to do, contract this distillation. And every brand that hits the market is not going to make it. And it's good, but I didn't find it really differentiated itself from any other Irish whiskey. So it's kind of like, what's the point? But I mean, not bad in any way. Just like I said, a lot of these beers, wines, liquors, they'll show up and that they don't last. Now this, they do have the same bottle design though, exactly the same bottle design, which may mean something and also may not mean anything because this thing is bottled in the United States. Um, but it has a cap that's the same as another Irish whiskey I have. And I think it was from Kilbeggan or whatever. But we're not going to worry about it because it's no point to it. And I think O'Neill's is also bottled in the United States. No, no, wrong. Distilled, matured, and bottled in West Cork. So it's from West Cork Distillers, but they don't put it on their website. You get on their website, this doesn't exist. And I think that's because, and I don't know this, I'm saying I think that's because it's made as a private label for Total Wine and More. I think you're only going to see it at Total Wine and More. I don't know that. I think that is probably the case. And sometimes people will hear me say that, and then they'll go around saying, well, you said it was a private label. No, I said, I think it could be. Like I said one time, I thought or had the suspicion or the impression that the Yingling traditional lager might have caramel color added. I couldn't prove it. It just seemed that that might be the case. And then just last week, somebody said on Alcohol Eggs and in Alcohol Eggs on Facebook, he said, well, you said that Yingling uses caramel color. I said, wait a minute. No, 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 no. I said, I thought that that could be the case. So you're twisting my words. I never said it was the fact of the matter. I said I had a suspicion and there was no way to prove it. Well, I could have written an email to the company and asked them. I just never bothered doing it. So if you're going to say things, try to be accurate. Okay. Clancy Woodard says, what's up, Jay? I actually have a quart Miller High Life in the fridge for Friday. I have a buddy coming over and I don't know what beer he's bringing. And I also have a couple of hams. Two good choices. Yeah. Of course, hams got bought by Miller, but there's no hams anymore. That's closed, but the brand, the recipes and that. And then yesterday afternoon, I did a Teeling small batch versus O'Neill's, but my mind was so warped in a way from things that were happening on the news. I couldn't even think straight. I didn't even realize I had already done that challenge, Teeling. But I was like having trouble keeping my thoughts together, So I was like, this morning, I'm like, You didn't skip over it, because I was saying I went out of chronological order, and I said to myself, you didn't skip over it. You did it. But I guess things, you get upset about things and bother, and it gets your mind where it scrambles your thoughts. You can't think straight. I think that's true. But let's look at the products. I'd show you a website, but there ain't nothing to show. I mean, you could look at West Cork Distillers, but they don't have anything that meets the parameters. They have products that are similar, but not the same. This one is very light. Douhans is very, very light, very pale straw. And I strongly think that it's not being colored, or let's use past tense, was not colored with caramel, because I think it's discontinued, you know. And then I could be wrong. Maybe it'll show up next week. And then somebody will probably be on Facebook tomorrow. You said it was discontinued. No, I said I thought it might be, or it likely was. See? I think people don't read stuff carefully or listen carefully, because I always see people, they're looking at their phones like constantly. They just stare at their phone, and they in a rush, you know, to be scrolling fast. And they're not really paying attention to what they're looking at. Oh, well, I'm guilty of that too sometimes, but certainly don't want to make a habit of it. But I think some people just barely look at anything. They're like sick on these phones, addicted. You see them at the red light, and I was seeing somebody yesterday. They slow down and then they just stop at the red light, and they could turn right on red. I'm like, what are you doing? Are you trying to go straight? No, they eventually turned right. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, I know. You're looking at your phone. You came to a stop, so you couldn't resist. What's that? What's so interesting on there that you got to look at that all day? I go to games, pay good money, and pay $30, which is not a lot these days for college. Last Saturday, okay, but I would have preferred. But I didn't. There was nobody on the street selling. You know, when I went 2 weeks ago, there was people on the street outside the stadium trying to hustle tickets, and of course, you know, that's always a risk. But I went to the window. What's the cheapest price for this game? She said $20. You want one now? I said, no, I was just checking. So I had my reference point. So when I went over onto the street, boom, instantly people trying to sell for 10 or agreeing to sell for 10, you know, so I bought it and I got in the game. But the point of that is, so I paid $30, which is the lowest price now, lowest price. So I know some people paid the $70 or whatever to sit on the prime seats. But what are they doing most of the game? Watching the game. Very close game, too. Went down to the last seconds. No. They're looking at the phone. They're looking at and they'll glance at the game. I see major league games all the time. You watch people sitting behind home plate. Now, you know those tickets are very expensive. I hope they got those as a corporate. A lot of these people work for like Shell or Amazon, and they might get comp tickets. I think a lot of times they say, here's some tickets. So hopefully they're not wasting their own money to go sit behind home plate, look at their phone. And it'd be a grand slam. What are they? Oh, yeah. And it's like, you didn't even see it because you're looking at that all day. That's all you do. Talk about you can't sleep at night. Well, of course, you didn't wind down to go to sleep. You just stared at the phone and you're all like wired up. And then you lay down and you really want to get back up and go look at the phone again. Oh, well, I guess I shouldn't be ranting about it, but you know it's true. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Some of y'all do it. Okay. Yeah, it smells like bread. Makes sense. Whiskey, liquid bread, right? Yeah, I grabbed my beer in advance because we've been friends since high school, and knowing him, he'll show up with a case of Bud Ice. I tried it, and it just wasn't my thing. Ice beer is loved by millions. Okay, we know it has a following, but a lot of people don't like it. It's kind of strong, and they just find it harsh, and they don't like it. Okay, they don't like it. You don't have to like it. It's not a religion. It should be just a fun hobby. Now, I do enjoy ice beer. My mainstay is natural ice. I tend to buy it. It's the cheapest one I could find, pretty much, and I enjoy the flavor. I'm used to it. I've been drinking it off and on, mostly on, but off and on since 1996. So I wouldn't have drank it 29 years if I didn't like it. And I wouldn't buy it just because it was cheap and drink it, because if I'm gonna drink it, I'm gonna have to like it. I'm not gonna compromise. But I literally like it. But anyway, the fanatical people you find on social media, and you say, yeah, politics. Well, that's terrible. But I'm talking about, and that's another story, but I'm talking about just beer, something like a drink. It's a consumer product. You buy it, you drink. You can't just talk about it like normal, give their opinion. It's a religion to them. They're on edge. Oh, it's like a big thing. And it's like they're angry. It's like, why are you so round up on a drink? What is this? That's not important. Okay, this one has a peaty nose. Compost pile. It's got to be O'Neill's. Now, is what I describe it as a PT whiskey? No, not really. This camera has so many behavioral problems. I would describe it as a whiskey with some slight peaty notes. Okay, not a peaty whiskey, but it's enough of that to discern. But I've gotten it wrong twice. But like against Drumcastle. Well, Drumcastle is kind of peaty. So it's the same, not a peaty product, but a product with peaty notes. So it makes sense that those got confused. I can see that I got that wrong. And I had a suspicion that it could happen. Getting it wrong against Patty's, that makes no sense. I don't know how that happened because, but it happened. I did it live. So now, did I delete last night's tealing? Yeah, because I don't need a double video on that. I'm not deleting it because, oh, I said something in the video and I'm trying to cover it up. No, it's just I don't need two postings of it. It doesn't make any sense. I'm going to go back and look at the other video and just to check back in on what I had said about it, because you forget, or I will do so much content, but I just feel like I wasted some of the tealing and some of the O'Neills yesterday, and I'm not trying to waste it. How you think I keep these for so long? You could if you accuse me of nursing these products, yeah, you'd be right. Trying to drag it out as long as possible. All right, sugary sweet. I find this is me. Can't speak for other people. I can't taste for other people. Can't smell for other people. But I find whiskey is very sugary. All right, it tastes sugary. That's just to me like sugar water. You could laugh, ridicule. It's up to you. But that's what I find it tastes like to me. Same here, but this one is more intense in the flavor. A stronger flavor. I think that's coming from that double-charred oak that they finish it in. It's aged 5 years in ex-bourbon. So right there, you're going to get some punch. But I mean, that's a common thing with Irish whiskey, ex-bourbon, right? But it's first fill bourbon barrel. So the first time they use the barrel when they finish with bourbon, because you only do the bourbon once. Then, so it's still probably got a lot of strong bourbon character coming in first use, or we should say first reuse. And then you're finishing it in double-charred oak. So they really want it to have a punch and intensity. And it's 33% single malt. So it's got a higher percentage of the single malt whiskey, which is where most of your flavor is going to come from anyway in these blended. It's not from flavoring, because Irish whiskey is not allowed to have flavoring. Unless it's an Irish whiskey, liqueur type thing, like the Patty's honey. They're not adding flavoring secretly. It says on the label, a whiskey with honey in it. Irish honey, which wouldn't be something I'd be looking to find, but if I saw it on a discount, I'd probably buy it. Or Fireball, you know, they add cinnamon to this Canadian whiskey, Fireball. It's not a true whiskey, it's a whiskey-based product. Of course, that wouldn't matter because in Canada, you are allowed to add flavoring to whiskey, and you don't even have to discuss it on the label. You could just slip it in there, and no one needs to know, which is kind of an interesting way of doing it. And in Scotland, can't have flavoring either, unless it's one of those like Buchanan's pineapple, which is saying it right there on the label. It's saying pineapple, and it's obviously got pineapple extract in it or whatever. The only ice beer, okay, Clancy says, the only ice beer I like but haven't seen it in a long time is Bush Ice. I like Bush Ice, but I've never seen it in Louisiana. I've seen it in North Mississippi. Southern Mississippi, close to Louisiana border, state line. No, I've never seen it. But if you go into central Mississippi, north, yeah, you'll see it at the convenience stores. Texas, you'll see it. Not too much. Not too much. 10 years ago, yeah. Now it's not too common. But you see, but I never seen it in Louisiana. No. All right, I'm going to call it. This is the Douhans. Lighter, a little more sugary, more bread. I think it's a better product, personally. Even though I gave O'Neill's an A, 9.3. Starting to question that. But I wouldn't question the Douhans score. It is an A. It's good. It's just flat out good. But also, it's not special. Because Patty's is the same, and Jameson is the same, and Bushmills is the same. I mean, they're all good. And the prices are all the same. So you basically should just buy whatever one's cheapest. This is my opinion. Jameson, Bushmills, Patty's. Those things are so common to each other. Why are you paying extra? Now, some people are funny, you know, you go to a party and you bring Patty's. Ooh, Patty's. Because they're thinking you were being cheap. You didn't want to buy Jameson for $4 more. Well, yeah, that's right. I didn't want to buy Jameson for $4 more because it's the same type thing. You got it. You nailed it. Winner. You win. And the person making the face and complaining probably couldn't tell them apart in a blind taste test. So... comical. All right, so to close out, if you want an Irish whiskey with a slightly peaty character, get O'Neill's, or you can pull, get Drumcastle if they have it in stock. Last couple of times I went to Albertsons, they didn't have it. I already bought it twice. I'm not buying it the third time, but maybe it's discontinued. But they keep showing it on all the Albertson affiliated company websites. Shaw's, Vons, Jewel Osco, Randall's, I think, is one of them. I don't know. There's so many. Albertsons is like Kroger. They buy everybody. And then they were going to merge, and then they had a falling out. A lot of it to do with the U.S. government antitrust agitation, and now they're suing each other. They never even got married, so they can't have a divorce, but they are having a bad fallout. But if you look at the Kroger companies, it's amazing how many they own. And same with Albertsons. And a lot of people shop at these stores in California or Colorado or Florida, and they're not realizing that it's Albertsons parent umbrella. There'll be slight differences between the stores, I guess. When I went to Alaska 2 years ago, there was a store down from the airport. I walked to that store actually, and then I took the bus downtown. But it was one of those. It was like a Walmart, really, but it was one of those owned by Kroger. They had a lot of stuff in there, really great stuff. All right, so the winner I'm saying is Douhans. Oh yeah, did I even get it right? I know I did. Yeah, of course. They don't taste too much like each other. O'Neill's, I got a good 40% of it left. If I wouldn't have screwed up last night, I'd have 43% of it left. That was a screw up. Douhans, I'm down to the bottom 25%, 25, 50, 75, 100. Might be 28% of it. But, it's going away. Might take 5 more years, though, at this rate. Oh, well, I'm not in a rush. O'Neill's, recommended. For $14.99, highly recommended. I mean, get real. That's your deal. That is your deal right now. Cheapest Irish whiskey available at Total Wine & More right now today, $14.99. Well worth it. Well worth it. Well worth it. Well worth it. Trader Joe's, they call it their special reserve Irish whiskey. I don't know what. I guess, yeah, it is a special reserve. It's specially reserved for Trader Joe's. That makes sense. Also, $14.99. Never had it. Never cracked it open. That's the plan next year. Don't know if it's any good. Hadn't read a review. Not going to read a review until I do my own. Don't want to be influenced by them. You don't want it to be a peer review. Okay, so tomorrow, Friday, is going to be Bushmills. Not Bushmills. The Busker. I knew it was a B word. The Busker. That's another one of those regular Irish whiskeys. It's like, why did they make this? Because everybody knows this flavor. But in 2020, 5 years ago, Royal Oak Distillery in Ireland decided, we've got a new product called the Busker. And it's just like all the other ones you've ever tasted. You should buy it. Walmart had it. They didn't keep it. I don't think too many people were buying it. The price was right there with like the same price as Jameson, so people would grab Jameson, No, I mean. And Walmart got disgusted with it, and they sold it for $10. I went in there one day was doing something else. Wasn't looking for whiskey, and I saw, what is this? $10. And the regular price was like $23.99. I was like, yeah, I'll buy it for $10. And they had the Busker single grain, red label, or crimson or vermilion label. Not mahogany. What's that called? Maroon. Yeah, maroon. Yeah, I was like, I don't know about this, but $10, get 2 full bottles for $20 plus tax. I'm game. I'll buy it. Never saw it again at that store. If I shop around Louisiana, every once in a while, I'll find the Busker, but it's so rare to see it. So I'm thinking that's a brand that really failed. I'm talking about for here. You might say, I live in North Carolina, man. That stuff flies off the shelf. People love it. Well, okay. I'm talking about here. It didn't make it. All right. Anyway, that's not our problem. So after I finish those Buskers, I've got a couple of others. I've got the Iden Stills from a reputable distillery over there in Ireland, and it's made only for Trader Joe's. That's what the website said. We created this for, I keep saying Trader Joe's, Total Wine & More. They made a little collaboration. So we made it for Total Wine & More. That's where you can buy it. Okay. But they do have a website for it. And I think there's one other, but we're approaching the end. And then it's on to Scotland. Blended single malt Scotch whiskey. I wasn't too thrilled with it. Gonna tell you right now. I'm just gonna tell you ahead of time. It was a Trader Joe's brand. Now, I am correct now. It's Trader Joe's. I'm not saying the wrong thing. Highland single malt Scotch whiskey, Caribbean rum cask finish. They make a big fancy talk about it on the bottle, no website. But I drank it 2 days ago, and I'm like, this isn't really living up to the billing. It's kind of, it was good. Good, but kind of not so good. 8.3, just barely into good. And I think it could go up because I only had it once. But I was looking at some reviews and they weren't too keen on it either. So I thought, okay, I'm on the right track. So Mike, it's more than likely going to drop into the B minus area. I can't see it going lower than that. It's not like just average, but there's a reason it's $17.99 at the time I purchased it 3 years ago. There's a reason for that. I mean, it's not because it's awesome. But hey, you try them, you buy them, you try them. You don't know what's going to happen till you try it, right? Okay, I bought some very expensive products that didn't live up to their billing either, you see. So I rather, if I'm going to get something that's a disappointment, I'd rather it be a cheap product than something that's exorbitantly priced, right? Okay, but y'all take care and see y'all around. Have a good, got to get O'Neill's in the picture. You're in the picture. Have a good Thursday, everybody. Bye-bye. Take care. God bless you.